Crime. In Nixon's time, crime was the big social hysteria issue. There's too much crime. They're coddling, the courts are coddling the criminals. We have to tougher laws. So a lot of civil liberties went away in terms of the rights of criminals and the rights of the accused and people going on trial. These were limited. They were cut down. These rights, which are guaranteed by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Another social hysteria, drugs. The drug thing happened, same thing. Big flow of drugs. We're going to fight the drugs. We need newer, tougher laws. We need draconian sentences. We need to be able to go into houses. We need to be able to do this. We have reasonable, all of these shortcuts have resulted in less liberties because of social hysteria. The media whips up the frenzy. People get all excited. The legislature passes it. The president, the executive signs it, and the judges, then the judicial branch okays it sometime later when it gets to them. And what has happened is you have less freedom, less liberties, less civil liberties, less rights. And the third social hysteria is terrorism. That was whipped up. Now it's a little more cause there. You look at the 9/11; it's a very dramatic event, but that too has been used with this Patriot Act to reduce our liberties. They say, well, if you have nothing to hide, what are you worried about? You know that? That don't like me. Oh, yeah. You tell me about the people that are, just getting out of prison because of the DNA, if they had nothing to hide. It's just, listen, this country is owned by the ownership class. They do pretty much what they want. I figure it's like a freak show. Here's what I do. You know what I do? To me, if you're born in the world, you get a ticket to the freak show. They give you a ticket to the freak show. If you're born in America, you got a front row seat. So some people are in the freak show. Yeah. We got our freaks. Yeah. Then some people, they want to fix the freaks. Yeah. These are the ACLU lawyers, environmentalists. Well, let's fix the freaks. We're going to fix them up. Oh, isn't that terrible? Let's do this. And then there are folks who just watch the freak show, as me. And some of us get to write about it or talk about it. Right. And I do that.
That's you too.
Yeah. And say, look at you. Look how badly you're doing. I don't even count myself in. Yeah. I say, look how badly you folks are doing. How did you do this to yourself? Why did you let them do this to you?
I'm glad you said that, because what I admire most about you and your comedy, and I hope I don't offend you by this term, but your comedy, by my definition, is what I call conscious comedy. You kill me. You crack me up. You make me laugh. And every time I hear you, I'm laughing. But if I'm listening, I'm also learning at the same time. Is that by design? Did you decide that you wanted to have a comedy of that ilk? Because your comedy really is conscious. I hear a lot of folk crack jokes, and they're funny. Sometimes they're not so funny. But when I listen to you, I laugh and I learn simultaneously.
Well, that's a nice compliment to use the word learn. Sometimes people ask this question, an interviewer will ask, is that your intention? Do you want people to think? And I say, let me say, I don't start. You can't start. You're there to get laughs. You're a comedian. Get your laughs. Fix up your laughs. Now, whatever makes you laugh in an ironic way or a kind of a twisted, detached way, if it makes you laugh, it's funny. You can make it funny for them. And if it's got some thought in it, and I do like to put good ideas to work underneath I like my comedy to be sitting on good ideas, good logic, good thought process. So I don't try to make people think, but I want them to know I'm thinking. That's important to me. And I've tapped a lot of areas for my comedy. I've done a lot of nonsense stuff, too. I've done a lot of Little World. I've done Dogs and Cats and What's in the Refrigerator, A Place for Your Stuff, Driving, all these things that are universal. But I have other interests, and they are what I call the big issues that will never go away. Race, religion, government, business, consumerism, all of these, crime, all of these, police, all the things that more or less 10 years from now will be about the same as they are today.
You've been courageous talking about race, and I say courageous because you're a white guy.
Yeah.
Where do you find the courage to take the risk to, in a stand-up formula, talk about race? Because race, for a lot of folk, ain't so funny.
Sure. I think, first of all, there's a personality of mine on view. There's a people see in me on stage a person who isn't a threat to them, a kind of a vulnerable figure. I may raise my voice. I may sound a little irritated. People think it's anger. It's irritation.
Hold the thought. Yeah. What makes, I'm curious about this. What makes you say to me that people see a sort of vulnerable figure on stage? Your demeanor, what do you mean by that?
I have tried to
because I've never felt sorry for you when I see
No, but I don't mean vulnerable from a victim standpoint. Right. I just mean a person who has a softer side, a more potentially human side than just some robot on stage. My manager and I have talked about this thing, this part of what they see, what folks see in me. And he used the word first for me. He said, there's a vulnerability about you that they see when you talk, especially when you're talking about sweet things, when you're talking about the little human things. And I'm kind of like your Uncle Charlie, who wouldn't hurt you, but he's a bit of a goof, you know. And, oh, that's Uncle Charlie talking. He's okay. So, Uncle Charlie. I forgot who I was talking to for a second. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uncle anybody.
I wasn't offended by that.
Good.
Yeah, so before the letters come,
yeah,
I understood his point. I was not offended. Go ahead.
But I use the term on loan from my manager's analysis. So perhaps I can't defend it as well as he would, or describe it as well as he would. But there is a thing they see in me which isn't threatening. We're talking about now why so I can quote unquote get away with some racial stuff.
Sure.
And if they know anything about the rest of my work, or a lot of my work, they kind of know where I stand on things, and that that I have a kind of a series of issues that I have similar positions on. You know, they're left of center. You know, and I don't know how to answer your question well. That's why I'm fluffing around here.
I accept that. Yeah. Let me ask you this then. The flip side of that, I suspect, which is whether or not, with all the issues that you've covered, to your earlier point, you've covered so many topics over the years. Yeah. With all the things that you have covered, are there things that you absolutely stay away from? Subject matter that you won't touch because you won't touch because you think you can't be funny, you think you can't be instructive, you think you can't get tablets to listen and learn and laugh. Are there things you just won't touch?
No, there are not in the largest sense of that question. No, there are not. We could isolate a point that I wouldn't be worth making. You know, I mean, I probably wouldn't have many jokes about baby rape, but why should I? You know, but I believe this. I believe if you establish the context for an audience, first of all, that you're not a threat. You establish a context for them in